Là, comme mon ami Hervé, bon, il me disait tantôt que la religion elle arrivait avec... même je la connais, Sœur Jeanne de Jésus, elle était fine. Elle est arrivée en broyant en disant qu'on fermait les classes. Parce que les sœurs n'étaient pas d'accord, pas toutes. Les chefs étaient d'accord, mais il n'y avait pas le choix, il y avait une dette. Fait que, en clairant la dette, ça leur donnait 2,65 $ par taille, au lieu de 65 cents. Là, ça a rapporté. Là, c'est comme ça qu'on est devenus des orphelins de Duplessis. Duplessis a signé l'entente avec le cardinal Léger et Ottawa. En réalité, les 3 paliers du gouvernement et religieux sont responsables de notre sort au réduit. Nous avons traités débiles mentaux, aliénés, fous, comme vous voulez, appelez ça de même. Moi, je me suis sauvé parce qu'à un moment donné, on voulait m'envoyer à Saint-Jean-de-Dieu. Et j'ai demandé au petit Jésus, j'étais bien croyant, puis je le suis encore, faites qu'il pleut à boire debout que je puisse me sauver de l'hôpital. À ce moment-là, c'était de l'hôpital. Et puis, journée-là, on faisait une procession, comme Hervé disait, la procession de Dieu. Journée-là, il mouillait. Là, les jeunes se sont arrangés. Il est sorti par la porte de côté. Je voyais encore la sœur en haut qui cognait sa vitre que je rentre. Puis moi, je suis sauvé à fly. Il est flyé, comme on dit. J'ai perdu à un moment donné. On vient à un moment donné, un blanc-noir, là. Je voyais plus rien, mais j'ai quand même passé au travail, je me suis évadé. Pendant 6 mois, il fallait nous trouver. S'il ne nous trouvait pas, s'il fallait qu'il nous trouve, si on ne voulait pas venir, tirer sur eux autres. Il y avait un décret là-dessus. Les polices avaient le droit de tirer. Imaginez-vous. Fait que c'est pas, franchement, c'est pas chrétien de leur part. Moi, s'ils ne veulent pas nous pardonner, moi, je ne peux pas pardonner 2 jours. C'est impossible. Fait que nous, on est encore, comme on dit, malheureux, puis encore, je suis content pour les Autochtones que ça se règle. Mais je les félicite parce qu'ils ont quand même eu un bon coup de main, je pense, par des gens. C'est vrai, ils sont plus nombreux que nous autres. Nous, on est un petit groupe, mais un petit groupe vraiment magané au bout. Fait que, franchement, là... Puis pour ça, moi, je fais partie d'un organisme sans but lucratif, des Chevaliers colons. Je suis même président de mon organisme. Fait que, il n'y a pas un fou qui fera ça. Fait que, tu sais, on regarde ça, là. En tout cas, merci pour l'écoute. Et puis, je vous souhaite à tous une belle fin de journée. Puis, portez-vous bien. Merci de nous avoir écoutés.
Merci. Je vais essayer de faire ça vite. Moi, j'ai un papier ici. Il y a des gens qui ont suivi le dossier de l'hôpital Victoria. On parlait du docteur Cameron. J'ai un papier comme quoi, en 1953-54, le ministre de la Santé, qui était monsieur... je ne sais plus son nom, là. En tout cas. Puis M. Cameron, il signait son temps quand il venait à l'hôpital. En tout cas, il venait 3 fois par semaine. Ça coûtait pas mal de milliers de dollars à cette époque-là. Il faisait le tour des hôpitaux, puis il disait au docteur quoi faire pour aller fouiller dans la tête, quelle pilule à donner. Nous, on a eu toutes sortes de pilules. Là. Il y a du largatil, il y a toutes sortes de pilules. On a vu. Fait qu'il y en a qui veulent avoir des preuves, là, sont là. J'en ai 3 faits ici. Ceux qui suivent le dossier de l'hôpital Victoria. Puis l'autre affaire, je vais vous parler. Monsieur François Legault, c'est pas un ange. Monsieur François Legault, il était à la SAQ en 1999. Ils ont agrandi la SAQ. J'ai la photo de lui, là, il est en train de pelleter. Puis en dessous de lui, c'est nous autres, les orphelins, qui sont là dans la soie à cochon. Puis on a demandé de faire exhumer les corps. Ils n'ont jamais voulu. Ils n'ont jamais voulu exhumer les corps. Puis moi, je trouve pas ça correct de la part d'un gouvernement faire des choses comme ça. C'est des criminels invertérés. Puis regardez, j'ai la photo de monsieur, comment il s'appelle? Celui qui était là, monsieur Legault et monsieur Frigon, le président de la SAQ de Montréal. Là-bas, j'ai une caricature en bas. Voyez-vous, là, comment ils sont?
C'est parce qu'il faisait des expériences à l'hôpital Saint-Jean-de-Dieu. Et ceux qui mouraient, sur des chocs qu'ils leur donnaient, ça ne paraissait pas, ils les enterraient avec des animaux en arrière. Il y avait des cochons dans ça, il y avait tout. Alice Roby a déjà été à Saint-Jean-de-Dieu pour avoir le traitement botomie qu'ils appellent. Fait que il y en a plusieurs des orphelins ont eu ça, et il y en a qui n'ont pas passé au travail. Fait qu'ils sont été, comme on dit, disparaître tranquillement pour pas que personne voie ça. Puis moi, j'ai un de mes amis qui est décédé, ça fait peut-être 2 mois. Il était directeur de la régie des alcools. Et puis il m'en parlait. Puis il a tout vu ça, lui. Mais il n'osait pas trop en parler parce que c'était trop grave. Mais il reste quand même... les preuves sont là, puis c'est vraiment pas beau. Pas beau pour la part d'une église comme ça, qui est supposément être chrétien, charitable. Ça, c'est un manquement, ça. Quelque chose que tu cherches?
Je vais vous donner la définition des religieuses. Les religieuses se sont fait une carapace de chien, garde du 9e commandement de Dieu. C'est quoi le 9e commandement de Dieu? Tu n'enfanteras pas sans la permission de l'Église catholique du Québec. C'était ça. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait? Ils ont maltraité les mères. Ils nous ont maltraité les enfants. Ils nous ont traités de toutes sortes de noms. Les bâtards, les enfants du péché, les déchets de la société du Québec. C'est le même qu'ils nous ont traités. Fait que je vous laisse sur ça. Je vous remercie de nous avoir écoutés.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Donc, so just before I pass it over to Gwendina, just wanted to say if you'd like, if there's any more, if there are any more media here, more than welcome to talk to any of the people who have spoken, and I still have copies of copies of the statement from the CCMP. You can come up here, or you can come speak to me, and I'll give you a copy. Thank you.
My name is Gwedio, and I'm the kahnistensera, and I'm listening to these gentlemen. I understand. I've spoken with them before a few times, and I kind of understand their language somewhat, but I've spoken to them more in depth before, and I just want to reiterate about the symbol of that cross that stands up on this mountain, something up a place where my ancestors lived, and to have a symbol of what these men, as they were children, as my ancestors, as they were children, as my community and many, many other Ngwehunga communities have that to look at every day as a symbol of power. And it looms over us. And I understand that there are people that follow that way of life and such. But as Ungwahumwe people, and how the Duplessis Orphans have experienced, we didn't have the luxury of choosing. It was forced down our throats. Literally forced down our throats, beaten into us, deprived of our mothers. And that symbol has to come down from there, because if you take a look behind and you're riding along the highway or you're riding anywhere, Every few minutes that symbol appears, and it's a symbol of power. To us, it's a symbol of disaster. It's a symbol of murder. It's a symbol of rape. I think the media has been saturated with orange lately, and I don't want it to become white noise. I want everybody to open their minds and think of, never mind as many children as Kahnistensera had said, just one child is enough. To say that that cross needs to come down because it's torture for many of us. It's a symbol of torture. It's a symbol of them trying to commit genocide on us and all of that follows within. And somebody could say, well, I'm the Pope. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. It was from the past. Yeah, but you chose to sit at the head of that group and everything that it stands for. It's not welcome on my land, and it never will be. And that should be enough. I didn't ask the Pope to come here. My ancestors didn't ask the Pope to lay his wrath here. And I don't want him here now. It wasn't Ungwehungwe people they asked for him to come here. It was people that used to be Ungwehungwe and now work for the government that they arranged all this with. It's not true Ungwehungwe people who care for their ancestors and for their children to come. It has to come down. This cross has to come down. I don't know how it's going to get done. It's not very hard. But if you can relieve some people of the grief and the punishment that they endured, and not just those survivors, but that intergenerational trauma that's happening. The ones that don't exist anymore, the trauma has continued and continued. And it's going to take us a while to get back to it. But that's a start. That's a start. So it's not in our face every day. When my kids take their bikes down the street from my house on our reservation, there's 3 or 4 churches right in our community. And people from everywhere in the world take this big, great bus and they come into our community and they want to see the church. That's not who we are. But they think that's who we are. And they continue to believe it. So, the Pope's visit, it doesn't do anything for us. It does zero. It actually is insulting. It's a great disappointment that people just take what you give them instead of opening their minds and discovering that that's not all as great as it's chalked up to be. If anyone can do anything for us, is to educate yourself from the right, in the right way, by thinking of what's right and wrong for yourselves and for our people. Because people try to read history about us, and those history books were not written by us, they were written by the government. You need to be very diligent in the things that you let your children read. It's your duty as a parent, and I'm just doing my duty. I need to I need to win this case that we're working on. I need to win this. And it's not for vanity, it's for the sake of these generations. I don't know what else to say at this moment. I think I'm depleted by their stories, how horrendous that is to be brought up like that. And there's millions of stories like they have. And for once I would like the stories to be told and not to be drowned out of what the newspaper owners and the corporation owners of media say that they can air and not air, because a lot of the things that we have told have been always edited out, and it would be nice for once to have the whole truth put there. And that cross has to come down. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gwendolyn. Did someone from the CCMP want to...
I kind of want to let that sit with people for a little bit before just hopping in. All right, so we're here on the behalf of the Milton Park Citizens Committee, a membership-based, non-partisan organization which strives to build grassroots democracy and collective autonomy. And we're here to declare our unwavering solidarity with the kanien'kehà, kahnistensera, and the vibrant Indigenous communities across Turtle Island in their fight for land back. We also want to recognize and respect and thank the kanien'kehà for the present and past stewardship over the lands and waters that enable our gathering in the pursuit of justice today. The legacy of the Catholic Church on Turtle Island is indisputably tied up in the genocide of Indigenous peoples through residential schools and other oppressive and assimilationist practices evidenced in the thousands of unmarked graves discovered across the country to date. Confronting the reality of these unspeakable crimes involves more than just words. It requires tangible action, redistributive justice, and actual reconciliation. It requires a dismantlement of the colonial oppressive apparatus. This means taking accountability for what has been done and rectifying the ongoing impacts of settler colonialism by giving back this land to its original caretakers and taking down that cross. This stands in stark contrast to the Pope's actions, which have gone no further than apologies, empty promises, and prayers. These cannot heal or help the countless lives taken and harmed by the Catholic Church. The Pope's whole visit is nothing but a $35 million performance, courtesy of our tax dollars in the colonial state. The Canadian state continues to dispossess Indigenous peoples of their land to this very day. One must simply look out west to the RCMP's invasion of Wet'suwet'en territory, or rather directly behind us. Currently, the SQI in the city of Montreal is encouraging the profanation of the unmarked Indigenous graves situated on the former Royal Victoria Hospital and Allen Memorial sites situated on the unceded land traditionally known as kanien'kehà. McGill University is being permitted to go forth with their greenwashed New Vic project in guise of furthering public policy and sustainability research, when their board of governors is currently funding billions of dollars, investing billions of dollars into the fossil fuel industry and over $15 million into corporations funding the Coastal GasLink pipeline. Additionally, the New Vic has been approved with little to no Indigenous or student consultation by McGill University and has been actively opposed by several groups in this community, including, but not limited to, the Student Society of McGill University, the Milton Park Citizens Committee, and the kanien'kehà. We'd also like to emphasize that this campus expansion serves no other purpose than to cover up McGill's heinous role in the MK Ultra experiments, their ongoing contributions to the fossil fuel industry, and invasions of Indigenous territory.
A comprehensive community consultation on the repurposing of the provincially owned decommissioned Royal Victoria Hospital held by the CCMP in 2021 uncovered the needs for health and community services, social, cooperative, and transitional housing, spaces for arts and culture, and more. These demands echoes though of the kahnistensera who want redevelopment plans to serve community needs, especially of those of the local indigenous population. It is our position that any such redevelopment to serve community needs would require the involvement and consent of the Mohawk Mothers from conception to realization. To be in solidarity is to respect the consent and stewardship of